47 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended. Discuss the evaluation and appointment of personnel pursuant to the personnel exemption of Section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended.
Is there a second?
Is there a second?
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. We are in closed session.
Whereas the Stafford County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia 1950 as amended requires certification by this school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Stafford County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which the certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, and/or considered.
Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, can you poll the board, please?
Ms. Ayers?
Agree.
Ms. Egan?
Agreed.
Ms. Hazard?
Agree.
Ms. Healy?
Agree.
Mr. Hirons?
Agree.
Ms. Kidby?
Agree.
Mr. McOsker?
Agree.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Is there a motion out of closed session? Ms.
Madam Chairman, I move that the board approve the recommendation of the superintendent for the administrative appointment of employee A
And you can say where.
at Margaret Brent Elementary School.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Benson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Catherine Lamsick is the school board's appointment this evening as the assistant principal for Margaret Brent Elementary School. And then she is here, so ask her to stand up. Congratulations. Since 2012, Ms. Lamsick served as the math specialist at Margaret Brent Elementary School. Prior to this, she served as an elementary teacher at Garrisonville Elementary School. She's had a variety of leadership responsibilities while at Margaret Brent Elementary School. She developed an intervention program with the third grade instructional team to meet the needs of at-risk students. She created a number of professional learning opportunities for teachers, including book studies, lesson study, and inquiry-based learning professional development. Catherine is a skillful teacher instructor for Stafford County Public Schools. Catherine has a Bachelor of Science in Education from Western Kentucky University. She has a Master of Education degree in Curriculum Instruction with the Mathematics Specialist endorsement from the University of Virginia. Go Who's? Sorry. She earned a graduate certificate in gifted education and a graduate certificate in administration and supervision, both from the University of Mary Washington. Congratulations, Catherine.
Well, in that vein, Ms. Healy, you want to continue?
Yes, I move that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the administrative appointment at Mountain View High School.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Dr. Benson, the next
Thank you, Madam
announcement.
Chair. I am pleased to announce the appointment of Ms. Katie Werner to the position of Assistant Principal at Mountain View High School. Katie's here as well. Ms. Werner has most recently served as our 10-month assistant principal at H.H. Poole Middle School, where she has supervised special education, fine and performing arts, and the health and PE departments. Her many accomplishments have included leading the Buddy Club program and implementing a flexible, tiered, data-driven intervention program which addressed strand deficits for each individual student in areas of mathematics and reading. Under her supervision, the H.H. Poole Special Education Language Arts and Mathematics pass rates consistently demonstrated improvement. In addition, she proactively assisted as discipline intervention team leader in reducing the overall number of school safety concerns and reinforcing school-wide positive behavior strategies. Ms. Werner earned a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Journalism from St. John Fisher College and a Master of Education Leadership degree from Virginia Commonwealth University. Congratulations, Katie.
I guess we don't really have to say welcome aboard, but congratulations on your new positions within Stafford County. If the board would now join me in our invocation and pledge of allegiance, I would ask that we stand for a moment of silence, certainly keeping in mind the events of the last few weeks, and then we will move into the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We will move on to the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion regarding the agenda?
Madam Chair, I would move to approve with one change. Item 12.04, did I get that item number right? Defer to a special called meeting that's going to be held on July 22nd. That's going to be preceded by a work session starting at 5 p.m. Second.
All right, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, and the agenda is approved as amended. Moving on to our special presentation this evening of our Special Education Advisory Committee. I will invite them to come forward to address the board. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Hazard, Ms. Egan, Dr. Benson, school board members. Tonight, I am going.
She's going to make sure you're.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Tonight, I will share with you a summary of the Special Education Advisory Committee's work for the school year 2015 through 2016. This year, we were fortunate to have a full representation of parents and faculty and teachers, staff consultants, and a lot of them are here tonight, so thank you all for serving this year.
If you are here, can you please stand up? That if you served on the committee. Thank you.
The mission of our committee is defined for us by the Virginia Department of Education Special Education Regulations. We're a required committee at the local level, and you can identify our function here on this slide. Our committee met monthly, and throughout the course of the year, we discussed the following topics. A focus area included staffing challenges across the Commonwealth due to high growth areas such as autism, emotional disabilities, and mental health issues. We appreciate the board's support with the new staffing positions for our classrooms, and I understand that all funded positions will be used in the upcoming school year. We've had a few accomplishments this year. As always, we review the annual plan that identifies federal funding, and we appreciate the local effort, as federal dollars are never enough. We appreciated and benefited from the dialogue when we provided input into the strategic plan, providing the perspective of parents of students with disabilities. As a committee, we're anxious to follow the rollout and implementation of the division-wide strategic plan. Dr. Benson, thank you for including multiple perspectives on that plan. Our Buddy and Extra Mile Awards are always a positive time to recognize our students and staff who are so dedicated to our students with special needs. And here on this slide, we have a glimpse into the traffic at our Parent Resource Center. These numbers include parents, students, educators, and participants at the workshops. If you have not yet stopped into the Parent Resource Center, there's so much valuable information, and please stop in once school is back in session. Here are just a few recommendations. And we will continue to keep an eye on the budget process as we maintain our standards and strive for excellent performance for our students. And I want to thank the board for supporting our programs. We recognize the cost of such specialized services and the many mandates we adhere to. And I also want to give a special shout out to the Special Education Parent Teacher Association and Regina Mike back there. They have done so much to support our families, our teachers. They provide many grants, and they are off the ground and running to support. And thank you, Mrs. Kidd.
Do you want us to ask you a question or something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just, you were looking at the cute kid there. So that's all I have for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Are there any questions?
Nice presentation.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you. I have 2 children. I started my career in the school division advocating for my kids. I've got one on a 504 and one on an IEP. The first year that SEPTA was around, I was a part of that too, and the Parent Resource Center was amazing, Child Find, I mean, the whole organization and you know, the community coming together to help our kids with special needs. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's involved in it, you guys and SEPTA and Sue Clark and her group and everybody else. So just thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
and
it.
I didn't realize when you put those numbers of phone calls, and that's amazing. I mean, that's a lot of work. So, you know, just an awesome job, guys. And I look forward to you guys coming back next year with some more accomplishments down there for that program. And Miss Kidby, just work her harder.
Thanks, Troy.
Thank you.
All right, seeing no further comments, we will move on to citizen comments. Let me get my... Speakers shall identify themselves by name, address, and organizational affiliation if the spokesperson represents an organization. Speakers shall also announce the purpose and topic of their comments. 3 minutes shall be allotted to speakers. The chairman reserves the right to restrict the total citizen comment received at any particular meeting to a predetermined maximum number of minutes with the approval of the board. Citizen comment which is profane, abusive, or which threatens imminent physical harm shall be ruled out of order by the chairman. Although the board provides the opportunity for citizen comment, individuals desiring to register complaints against division employees or division programs, services, or activities may also utilize the procedures outlined in Policy 1113, Public Complaints. I have somebody... Mr. Edwards already signed up on our sign-in sheet. However, if you would still like to address the board, please go ahead and stand up and come on in the main aisle behind Mr. Edwards, so you can be ready to speak right after that. If you have not signed in, I would ask that you sign the clipboard so that we know that you attended. So I will start with Mark Edwards, who signed in.
Thank you, Chairman, board members, supervisor. I'm here today to talk about continuous education. In wake of a lot of things going on, we try to figure out why do kids do the things they do. And one of the things I came up with is because of a lack of career-orientated education to have them look at jobs that are career-orientated. I know we post a sign out there say 40,000 jobs created, but I'm talking about career-orientated jobs for our kids. I don't know how you guys fit in there, but I know you can talk to the Board of Supervisors, the Economic Development Committee, amongst them, and get with them and say, hey, can we do something for when our kids do graduate from school, we provide them some sorts of technical training or something there when they get out, because a lot of them can't afford to go to college, you know, because college is not just getting the Stafford grant. There's more things involved. Now, when those people are out there in the community, we want to provide for them to help them to get some continued education there where these high-tech jobs that are coming out here or administrative jobs there, some type of training that they can do to go on and further their education there where they can take care of their family or themselves there. One thing I was thinking about was I know I'm originally, well, first of all, I live right up the street there, and I put 3 kids through the school system here, and I still have 1 more to go. And I prepared for them, but there are families out there, you know, that can't afford to send their kids to college. So when I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, and one of the programs we had, I know they have up in D.C. and farther south, is like a Job Corps. Now, a Job Corps, they can train kids in technical skills or participate in intern programs where we can solicit from the buildings, a building around here, and partly some of the jobs, you know, businesses out here that high tech that are coming here. We just started up a tech farm out here that's in the Quantico Corporate Center, and they're looking into bringing a lot of business in. We can solicit some of them individuals and say, hey, you know, we have kids getting out. Would you like to introduce them to your intern program or create an intern program to help them out? We don't want these kids just out here figuring that we don't care about them. I know, and I know that you guys are out here, and I know it could go to the 12th grade, but we need to think about them beyond the 12th grade and provide for them. And because I don't want to have the things where you call the haves and the have-nots. You know, I've been fortunate, and I've got higher education, and my family is going on higher education. But like I said, there are kids out there that need further education and need help. So if we can get some type of Job Corps out there to help them out, you know, we can preempt a lot of problems that can feather in the future there, where we can prevent a lot of crimes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? If so, please come forward at this time. Okay, if not, I will close public comment. I will move on to board comments. Okay, who wants to get us started? Mr. McCosker, would you like to start?
I knew you were going to pick me first, so.
Or you can come back. It's okay.
That's fine. So, you know, a couple of big things happening. You know, the board has been in a closed meeting with Moncure Elementary School, and Mr. Hirons moved it off, and the board talked about it during our work session about moving it off and speaking more about Moncure and what we are moving forward with Moncure on the 22nd of July. So it's very important to us. We just didn't have all the information that we needed. And so the board will come back to the Moncure build. We don't want to rush it, and that's why it was removed from the agenda.
Mr. McCosker, I don't think we were in a closed meeting on that.
Oh, I'm sorry, not closed meeting. I meant work session, not closed session. I was corrected. Thank you. And just the last thing, that's the second time that the gentleman spoke to, you know, that thing about the kids, taking care of them, making sure they get, you know, we do have a CTE program. I'm sure you're aware of it. And we need folks like you on the CTE committee to make sure that we get those ideas. And so I would really, if you get with our board clerk and give your name, or if you wrote your name down, we can get you on the CTE committee, and that would be a big, because, you know, the board discusses that at length, and it's very important to us that, you know, there's some kids that, you know, a good portion of the kids that have wonderful programs, masons and carpenters and engineers, so it's just limitless. So, but we could use your fresh ideas, and it seems that you have a passion for it. So, please get with our board clerk, and we can get you on that committee. That would be awesome. That's all.
Ms. Healy.
Another follow-up to Mr. McOsker's comment. Dr. Benson, we had talked previously about the program Germanna has, that their high school students could potentially graduate with an associate degree. Could you give us a briefing at some point on, you know, where we are in that discussion? I know Germanna is a wonderful partner for Stafford County Public Schools, but I think that something like that would go a long way for helping a lot of our families and our children continue their education at, you know, really no cost. You know, the cost would be to the schools. I mean, they probably have to pay for the exams, but that's that's less than the cost of the books would be if you know, they had to purchase them for a course. And Madam Chairman, I just had one item I wanted to bring up with the board. last year, the board approved hourly clerical part-time support, or I'm not sure if it was full-time, part-time, for the 2 elementary schools that had close to 900 students enrolled in them, because right now, all our elementary schools have the same clerical support, whether you have 500 students or 900 students. So the board recognized that and approved, and I don't think it was a outrageous cost for this support, and it was for Margaret Brent and it was for Rocky Run. And my understanding is both of these schools are either at or close to 900 projected capacity for the next school year. So I would like to ask the board if that's something that we could consider continuing for this year, and also ask Dr. Benson to let us know if there's any other schools that are approaching that, that 900 student enrollment figure, so we would need to consider that as well. Because there's all kinds of needs that are added to a school when those capacities rise, and a lot of that burden, administrative burden, falls on the front office staff. So whether it's answering phones, talking with the parents or guardians who are coming in, making arrangements, I think that they really do need that support. And I know it was very much appreciated last year.
Yes.
So is that something is there any objection to continuing that, provided that information that I had was correct, that the enrollments are either at or very close to 900 in those 2 schools, and then let us know if there's any more schools that need support. Thank you.
All right. That's it. Is that the will of the board at this time? That to continue to support that? I just wanted to make sure. It seemed like there was nodding heads, but I would rather be sure.
These numbers.
These are the numbers.
Rocky Run's at...
Rocky Run. They're all over 850, and Margaret Brent 887 as of now. And right now, we're in that flux.
Yeah, Wine Creek's getting up there.
And I believe right now as well, many other front office staff right now, at least over the summer, are implementing the new Munis system too. So it's sort of a compounding. So, all right, it seems like that's the will of the board, at least to continue. And then, Dr. Benson, if you make us aware if there's other challenges.
I would, and I will certainly do that. And I encourage the board to take a look at our support staffing as a part of our staffing standards, and we might want to revisit the level of differentiation that we have based upon the size of school.
I would love to do that. I've been talking about that for years, and we talk a lot, but we never really actually
We're getting there. They're in the
do anything.
so it'll be on ours. Ms. Egan.
I'll defer my comments until the next meeting, thanks.
Okay. Ms. Kidby?
Defer.
Ms. Ayers?
Well, I will say thank you, Mr. McCosker, because I was going to make the same recommendation and invite Mr. Edwards to be a member of the committee as well. Otherwise, I'll defer.
Mr. Hirons?
Let's keep moving, I'll defer.
All right. Don't worry, I'm going to. Don't worry, I'll break with the chain. I did want to bring the board's attention, I didn't put this in since we didn't do board or committee reports, I just wanted to report on some exciting news. I'm pleased to share with the board that the Stafford Education Foundation meeting on Monday was very productive and was described actually by several long-term board members as the first time in a long time that there was excitement about the direction the foundation is heading. I'm pleased to share with you that Kathy Yablonsky from the Stafford Hospital, is going to be our foundation chair for the next 2 years, which is exciting. We welcome Dan Singh, the owner of Dan's Wellness Pharmacy, to our board, and I hope to announce several new members in the coming months. The golf tournament is currently scheduled for Tuesday, September 20th, 2016, and the committee is being led by Robert from Apple Federal Credit Union. So more information will be forthcoming. Don't know if you all are golfers or no golfers, but be great to have some of us involved, or at least to reach out there. So it's a Tuesday the 20th, and so there'll be more information, but I just wanted to let you all know that. I know the board would like to pass along our condolences to the Presley family and the Hartwood Elementary School community as they mourn the loss of their son. And then finally, I just would like to mention, as a teacher, I have listened, and finally, a teacher I have listened to for over 10 years always uses a phrase, the past can be a prison or the past can be a schoolhouse. I am very excited about where Stafford County Public Schools is headed for FY17. Obviously, the past year has presented several challenges to the board, but it's my hope that all of us will be looking forward. Let's not repeat our miscues and let's learn from them. I think we can repeat. I want us to get away from repeating and continuing to relive our mistakes of the past. Let's stay focused on the schoolhouse and not the prison nature of where we've been sometimes. I want to keep our eyes looking forward, that we're not imprisoned in the past because we are making wonderful strides right now. So I hope we will all be lifelong learners and use the past year as a learning institution as we move forward to more solutions and corrections that are coming. And we have welcomed new staff as we've gotten to July. I know Ms. Johnson is here, Mr. Dumbrack is here. It's very exciting, and I know we will be having more people continuing to join our team. And I think it's an exciting time to be at Stafford County Public Schools. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Benson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to defer to Mr. Fulmer for a few minutes to ask him to share a little bit about the information we have regarding potential shortfall in state revenue for FY17. Mr. Fulmer.
Sure. I'll keep it brief, but the state has released some information about about how they finished up FY 2016. And long story short, their projections look to be, or they're coming up short of their projections, and they've put localities and divisions on notice that the 2% compensation adjustment or revenues that are currently projected for 2017 are basically on hold and cannot be guaranteed. They will reevaluate that in September. I think the governor will address it, and then in December, I don't know if I said that right, September and December, so we'll know definitely more in December. We won't know certainty until then. So, but we will have more information come September, and I'm sure more will be leaking out between now and then. Luckily, at the June board meetings, the board had the foresight to purchase items ahead of time from the FY17 budget and provide some flexibility in the budget. There is still a lot of uncertainty at the state level, though. ADMs could change the 2% for compensation. So just wanted to share that information with you.
Any questions?
Chris,
Mr.
just real
McCusker?
quick, Mr. Fulmer, the 2% was always supposed to be a half-year bump, as they usually do. So whenever the state says, hey, you're going to get a 2% raise just for everyone, for at least the way I understood it for over the years, and it's been true over the years, is it's been at January they will get 2% for the rest of the year.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so it's not a full year at 2%, number one. And number two, it's only towards the SOQ positions, which are approximately, what, 40 or 50% of our positions?
I don't know the exact number,
so
but I know it is SOQ.
50 or
that's
60,
correct.
so it's so the money should not be that total 2% amount that we actually fund internally. So
No, and sorry, I should have clarified that the number from the state is 1.2 million that we have in our budget.
So it's not that $4 million,
No.
Oh my gosh, but it is terrible.
Right.
So we just need to monitor it, but it's not as grim if the shoe does fall. Okay.
Are there any other comments? Ms. Kidby?
Question. I understand that on hold is the salary adjustment for state employees, which includes SOQ, and I get that. Is there any other dollars in the budget that have been earmarked to hold until they have a better idea of what the revenue flow is going to be?
They have not specifically identified anything. They identified where their shortfalls have been, which is on the sales tax and income tax. They have not given any additional information as far as our basic aid and other things that are based on ADM or their collections.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
Yep.
If I may make a comment, I don't want to steal Mr. Hiron's thunder since you got to do this. That additional money that we are talking about was exactly the money when we went to the Board of Supervisors. That was over and above Dr. Benson's budget that included that 1% and 2%. We invested in positions with that additional money. I don't want to steal Mr. Hiron's. You got to give it the first time. But we really did. We put it into people.
Mr. Hirons threw Mr. McOsker under the bus on positions, if you don't.
I pushed you towards the front of the
Yeah,
bus.
no, I'm sorry. He pushed me towards the front of the bus. He offered me a front seat.
seatbelts.
And without a seatbelt.
I think that the full board supports the class size reduction, Mr. McOsker. So I think even though it was credit. So I do think that, however, I would be remiss if I didn't state, because I have been somewhat active in posting about this, I have had these concerns. And I just want to say that, back at the end of May, when the vote was taken to fund the increase in pay for teachers only, I stated that I had concerns about the potential state revenue shortfall, and the board at that time agreed to consider a mid-year review for other employees after considering revenues in a few months. As we're now aware, the December funds for the SOQ positions, I really read that press release as will not be available. It said they were going to be diverted to other revenue sources or needs. I would personally like to see the FAB examine whether the school board, under the current financial environment, should consider holding or delaying the teacher-only salary increase. It is $1.1 million. I believe that the projected loss of state revenue is at about the 1 to 1.2 million, I believe, at this time. As we're all aware, all employment contracts issued by the county and schools contain a non-appropriation clause. This is not something I think lightly, but at the time, I know that the board also did wonder what we should do. I think the state contemplated a mid-year increase for all employees, and I think that the board should be cautious and fiscally responsible moving forward with increases in the adopted budget of over $1 million. The additional funds from the state were used to fund specific needed positions in our schools. I'm not at this time seeking a motion to reconsider. I just know that our FAB is meeting on July 27th. As we get additional concern about state revenues, I think we should make sure that we examine all things that we have done in the last few months. Dr. Benson, did you have any further comments?
Just to formally welcome Mr. Dunbrack and Ms. Johnson to their first official meeting. Appreciate that. Appreciate your being here, as we do all of our staff that come in support of our board at our board meetings, and a special thank you to Mr. Nichols, who's here celebrating his birthday with us today.
Oh,
so, happy birthday!
You may not want us to sing.
Happy birthday.
Name was changed, wasn't it?
Oh, who changed his name? Wasn't it his school board member?
That's the end of my comments.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. That's right. All right, moving on to consent items. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to action items. Action item 12.01.
Move to approve.
Second.
12.01.
It's been moved and seconded regarding approving the annual VHSL insurance application. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to action item 12.02.
Move to approve 12.02.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Madam Chairman, I have just a technical suggestion.
Sure.
The intention of this change is to give the superintendent or his designee the authority to grant additional time off if the county has off, which I'm totally in support of. But I think that the wording here may actually tie your hands some, because this says that you shall have the authority when such day does not occur when school is in session for students. So I think it would give you more flexibility if we said the superintendent/designee shall be granted the authority to give employees additional time, comma, or portion thereof, comma, so appointed by the Stafford County Board of Supervisors for Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year's, when such time does not occur when school is in session for students. Because sometimes the board will give the county a half-day off. So if we had an early out for school, the way this is written, because it's written when the day, if school is in session for the day, the superintendent can't do it.
Give the half day.
A literal reading of it,
Oh, gotcha.
you couldn't do it. So we need to refer to time, but I think we also have to say the additional time or portion thereof, because, they may give a whole day off, but you may not be able to do that if school's in session, but you could give a half day off. So I just think, it sounds like it's limiting, but it's really not. It's given additional flexibility to the superintendent, because
Right.
this is, I think, more restrictive than it's intended to
Right.
be.
And I also see that there's, it only mentions, well, it specifically mentions Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. It doesn't take into account 4th of July week, like if they give off on on a Saturday, they want to let folks go home early on a Friday. So I wouldn't pigeonhole us just but with those 3 holidays and make it for any holiday.
Okay,
a
is there modified language? Ms. Ms. Healy, could you reread?
Well, I was
think you
just,
had.
I was just actually looking at this now. It says, the new language is, in addition, the superintendent/designee shall be granted the authority to give employees additional time, and I would add in a comma or portion thereof, with the intention being that he have the flexibility to give less if we're in school and he can't give the whole time, because here it sounds like it's an all or nothing deal. So the additional time, so appointed by the Stafford County Board of Supervisors for any officially designated holiday.
Right.
When, take out the and such day, but say when such day, oh, no, I'm sorry, when such time does not occur when school is in session for students.
Right.
So grammatically, it wasn't correct with that "and" anyway, so we have to say when, but substitute time for day.
Okay, before we go forward, is the board clear on the modified language?
Yes.
Okay, so
Is amendment?
you accept the amendment?
No, Mrs. Ayers?
No,
No,
I
okay.
need to read, we're putting commas and things in here, and I just want to make sure, so can you read it again for me? The entirety of what you're expecting?
Okay, well, I'm just making it up, but in addition, the superintendent/designee shall be granted the authority to give employees additional time or portion thereof,
Oh.
comma. That's the parenthetical, so he has a choice of giving the time the supervisors give or part of it. If the supervisors give all day,
Okay.
and he can't give all day, that means he could give a portion of it, okay? So that's the, or portion thereof. So appointed by the Stafford County Board of Supervisors for any approved Stafford County Public School holiday. Okay?
Or should we even have Stafford County Public School?
Well, yeah, we have to have Stafford County Public School holiday because the county, they have that 4-day, well, do we have that 4-day weekend?
We don't have exactly the same
Yeah, we don't
days.
have exactly the same holiday.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
for anything that
Okay.
is a Stafford County Public School holiday, when such time does not occur when school is in session for students. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to give him more authority
Right.
than
I
less.
understand. I just- Yeah, with all the.
I know.
Right.
Yeah, the verbal redlining, I need to hear it all the way through. Thank you.
I had to write down
Right. All right, are we good?
Yeah.
All right, there's a motion on the table. It's been moved and seconded as amended. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on, excuse me. Moving on to 12.03, proposed amendments regarding strategic planning.
Move to approve 12.03.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to information items. 13.01, adopt the proposed FY temporary rates for hourly bus drivers and bus monitors, part-time cafeteria workers, in order to provide increases consistent with those provided to other employees. Let's see, this is, sorry,
13.01.
no, I got the number. Mr. Fulmer, Ms. O'Brien, I guess, if they're,
Basically, what this agenda item does is provides for two groups of individuals who are not individuals, two groups of employees who are incorrectly noted in the budget book as not receiving the full increases that other part-time employees received. To give a little backstory on this, in 2012, when the Virginia retirement system initially started to implement the 1% phase-in of the 5% employee contribution, the school board had an agenda item which approved all part-time people that are contracted to receive the same increase as the full-time individuals, which included both whatever COLA there was plus the 1% VRS contribution. For a variety of reasons, that was done. But that occurred May 22nd of 2012, I believe. And this would be a deviation of what has been happening over the last several years. And so at this meeting, we are just asking for this to be corrected for school nutrition contracted individuals and their hourly subs, and for the transportation hourly employees. For school nutrition, it would be a total of approximately $20,000, and for transportation, it should be right around $5,000. Any questions?
Ms. Egan.
So basically, this is just an adjustment. This has
It is
nothing
an
to do with
adjustment.
a VRS contribution or anything else like that.
No, it's simply adjustment so that these individuals would be treated, or these positions would be treated the same as all others.
Thank you.
Does this mean that all our hourly employees would receive this 1%?
It does not. It means that those hourly employees whose rates are tied directly to the zero step on the salary scale, which is transportation and school nutrition employees, that it would be applied for them, as it has been in the past.
So there are other hourly employees that are not receiving this?
Yes, as there always have been, because not all of our hourly rates at this point are tied directly to the zero step on the corresponding scale.
Dr. Benson, I would like at some future time, the next couple months before we deal with the next budget, to get a list of those positions that, you know, are not included in here, because I think it merits a review.
And we do have that information available, so we can provide that.
And Ms. Healy, in addition to that, I think that what I would like, and we included this at the end of this agenda item, is as we go into this this next budget cycle, to tie these part-time wages to the entry levels of our adopted scales so that they're connected to each other.
I will say, just, you know, kind of for the record, that I was contacted by a part-time, you know, this week, and very upset about, you know, the not this particular, but just the wages that and especially the way that we're using, in the past we have used our part-time, you know, subs, you know, our part-time, just the list goes on, as a full-time employee all year long, and you know, so it's something that we need to look at.
Any other questions I can answer?
Madam Chairman, this staff has recommended that this be moved to action. If there's no further discussion, I'd like to make that motion.
I would just like to make a clarification that it is an adjustment upward. So
It is.
Yeah, it's an adjustment upward. So for the bus drivers and the bus monitors and cafeteria personnel.
Ms. Healy, would you make your motion again? Sorry.
Madam Chairman, I move that item number 1301 be moved to action.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to 13.02, award of a,
Now we have to.
oh, sorry.
Chairman, I
I'm
make
sorry.
a,
That's a follow-on.
a motion
I'm
that we approve item number,
13.
I guess it's now 1205, if we moved it up to action. I
Action.
don't know if they get renumbered, but the, adopting the FY17 temporary rates.
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded. No further discussion, it appears. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We will, this item has been approved, whether it's 13.01, but it's adopting the FY temporary rates. All right, so moving on to what is right now information item 13.02, approving the award of a food service contract. Are there any questions about this particular item?
Madam Chairman, we get these every summer, and because I guess the way the whole contracting process works, there's really not enough time to get them on our agendas, and then we're only having one meeting a month. And I see here that there was a request to also move this item up for action. And, you know, if there's no objection from the board, I'd like to do that.
It doesn't appear there's any objection, so Ms. Healy?
1302.
1302.
Food service contract.
Can we combine 1302, 1303, and 04?
Yes, Mr. Hirons has suggested if we look at 1303 and 1304 at the same time, these are all food service contracts.
I have no problem amending that motion to move all three of those items up to action. I assume we're going to have to vote on them
Vote
separately,
separate.
but the motion could be
second that
moved all three up to action.
We really should force the new guy up here.
I was just going to say, we want to introduce him.
Well, isn't this his honeymoon period?
At least stand up so we can say
I mean, if it
hello.
were his birthday, it'd be
Yeah,
different.
No, we just wanted you to come up and say, welcome aboard.
Day 6. So I only have
Where
a
are
few.
our healthy snacks?
Next time.
They're
Oh, that's
coming.
right, you're going to come to my committee meeting with the, you
can.
talked to Mr. Sly about your
I did.
responsibilities as the liaison on that committee.
Yes, ma'am.
So the motion on the floor is to move these to action, right?
Right. Yes, the motion has been to move this to action. It's been moved and second, all three, 1302, 3, and 4 at this time. Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there a follow-on motion, which I believe we will have to do separately? Each
Move to
one.
approve 1303, which is now whatever number.
Right, second.
1206.
start with 2.
Start with 2.
Oh, did I scroll down too far? 2 is probably a good idea.
Okay. It's been moved,
I
it's been
second it.
moved and seconded to approve 13.02 regarding
And
vending,
we
snack,
should
and
really
beverage
scare
items.
him and all vote no.
No.
I do have a question.
All right. Ms. Kibbe.
Just in terms of this particular contract as well as the other two, in terms of their dollars, are they equivalent, significantly higher than last year? Can you share some information regarding that?
So in terms of last year, I have not seen the bids from last year. Other than the produce, everyone is on a 5-year term. So actually for the mainliner and for the vending, this is the first time that's been voted on for 5 years. Produce would be year to year. And normally that's based on market and not necessarily a set item. I do know in terms of Produce Source, who's the company that I believe Mr. Sly has been using Produce Source for over 15 years.
Yeah, he's been using it for
And they have a very good relationship, and they offer the most variety, the most reasonable price, and they were the lowest bid on top of everything else.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. All those in favor regarding 1302 for vending, snack, and beverage items, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is there another motion?
Move for approval 1303.
Second?
All right, it's been moved and seconded for 13.03 related to fresh produce. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. One more.
Move to approve 1304.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved and seconded regarding food and non-food items. Any discussion?
I did have one thing
Ms.
that,
Kabir.
that I wanted to suggest to the board. These are sizable contracts, and I'm sure that they are well-written and well put together. However, I recommend that the FAB committee have an opportunity to look at some of these larger contracts in more depth prior to them coming to the full board, so that not only can the full board endorse these contracts in terms of their approval, but a FAB committee would have an opportunity to look at them in more depth and make a recommendation to the board as to whether or not any adjustments had been made. Certainly, that's something that the FAB could do in harmony with a contract officer if and when we do get such a person. It's just a comment.
Has the FAB not been doing that before?
No.
Wasn't that discussed at some point? Wasn't that the intention?
One of the things that I'd like to bring forward as a possible agenda item, just being a member of the FAB, not trying to take any responsibility, but it is that we adjust our bylaws so that we start looking at those. An adjustment to that bylaw certainly would have to have full approval of the board.
Okay.
And, Madam Chairman, I'd like to add on to that. We may need to change the timing of when we advertise these bids to allow for that review of the FAB.
Good point.
Because right now, I mean, basically, it's pretty fast turnover. So, if we can build that into our, our contract, our request for proposals, or however we're going to be bidding these out. And I would like to commend your staff in your office, because traditionally the food and nutrition services is a very self-sufficient portion of this organization. They not only pay their way, but they actually pay for some of the improvements in our kitchens. Our hoods, our fans, things that you would have expect normally the school system to provide, because they do such a good job of managing their resources. They're able to help out a lot, with our kitchens. So you've got a great staff.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further comments? I would echo the comments of both these board members as we move into our contracting officer and how we begin to integrate that. I think, again, that'll be a process that we're all learning too, so we welcome you aboard and helping us. So, without any further, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 13.05, approve the FY 2018 School Board Budget Development Calendar. As noted in the agenda item, and I believe we noted in our work session, there is a FAB meeting scheduled for July 27th, which will be further discussed. But because of the limited meetings we have in the summer, we thought it best to at least get some broad input, I think, of the board going forward, and then that can be crafted further in the FAB committee meeting was some of the thinking.
And Madam Chairman, the FAB's going to come back and give us a recommendation on this?
Right.
That'd be great.
But I think also to solicit anything that board members right now, upon seeing it, if something jumps out, it's great for, the members to see. And then, I don't know if, Dr. Benson, if you had any comments about anything in that item.
Just a few items that we tried to incorporate into the revised calendar is we're looking for more opportunity to have input from FAB in the fall using the regularly scheduled meetings. Our budget meetings have typically kind of focused on what folks were looking for in addition to resources that they already had available to them. We've changed those two reviews to include a more detailed analysis of what is already in place. As I communicated to the board in our Friday letter last week, we believe we're going to be able to use Munis to develop a core portion of the budget. We'll be challenged with personnel costs, but we should be able to do all of the other operational costs, which will position the board well, I think, in terms of a level of analysis and scrutiny across a majority of line items within the budget. And then we're trying to see if we can't bring closure and a board adoption prior to March, if that works for the board. That way, the board will have an adopted budget prior to the county administrator's presentation to the supervisors.
That's good.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Harrods.
There is a tentative joint work session with the Board of Supervisors in December. I think the intent of that one is probably to have some of the preliminary discussion of budget inputs. I would like to see an added one, I don't think it's on here, of a tentative joint work session after the budgets are developed, prior to our presentation to them. It may end up being that same night, but I think we really missed an opportunity this past year to not push for that. And of course, relations in our budget presentation didn't go as well as we had hoped. I think it would have been improved if we had had the opportunity to sit down full board to discuss the budget.
Can I just opine on that real quick? If you look at the Board of Supervisors, they have their own schedule, and it's rather old, but it's the only one that's posted. There is a line item on a particular date that has us sitting down for a joint work session on budget, and as long as I've been on the board, I've never seen one. I don't know if we want to bring that up at the 3-on-3.
Well, yeah, and we definitely do. We definitely want to use every forum to encourage that. And I think our first year we did have one. I don't remember if it was prior to or they're prior to. And I know some of the members of the Board of Supervisors had intended to include budget discussion in the work session we had prior to our presentation, but we ran out of time because that was mostly related to healthcare benefits. I think it would behoove us to encourage them and put on our calendar so they can see it, and hopefully they do the same, a work session, which they have, but hopefully they hold to it, a joint work session, so the boards can sit at even tables and discuss the budget like adults.
And I'd be happy to share this tentative schedule, and even after we meet at the FAB, because I will plan to attend, just some general reach out with our counterparts regarding scheduling, so that we don't all create a calendar and we all pick a different week.
Right. I think we need to be careful that this is approved before we start sharing with our counterparts, because we may tweak. The board may choose to tweak. Yeah.
I was talking more in general, that we are
Yeah,
thinking
just in
of a
general.
December
You bet.
meeting, because,
You bet.
December can go through very quickly, just sort of some broad, maybe
Sure.
not dates, but we'd hate to all be approving different things and passing the night. So any further, my suggestion would be, if there's any further, upon looking at this after leaving this evening, please contact members of the FAB committee with any suggestions.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Just one comment. I'd like to see, when this comes back to us, if we have it available, the county's budget calendar as well, so we can see how the two, marry.
Good idea.
All right, any further comments, discussion? All right, moving on to, I'm going to call it 13.06, but it may have a different name by now, but approving the superintendent's proposed amendments to policy 6101 and 6101R concerning access to public records.
So, Madam Chair, this recommended amendment is to bring our FOIA policy in line with changes to the Code of Virginia. We basically took language that was recommended by the Virginia School Board Association and substituted that in for our document. One of the things that we need to do in our FOIA policy is to identify the position that's the contact for FOIA requests, and we've entered our new Director of Strategic Communication and Community Engagement into the item.
any comments this evening? If so, if not, no. All right. Looks good. I'm glad we want to stay on track. Moving on to 13.07. I will, Mr. McCosker, do you want to do the quick briefer on that one? Sure. If you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is a policy to recognize past serving Stafford County Public School Board members, Stafford County Public School Board members in the halls here of our school board. So I'll just give you a quick background of what I wrote up as the policy. The education of Virginia's children above all other government service is the foundation upon which the economic, social, and intellectual strength of our Commonwealth is built. Locally elected and appointed school boards play an important role in the representative democracy, as the decisions of local school boards directly influence instruction in Virginia's public schools, and the leadership of our local school boards affects the development and the future of our children. School boards ensure that students are prepared and competitive in a global economy and routinely work with parents, businesses, educational professionals, and other community members to create an educational vision for our students. School board members that have served an honorable term of service in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Stafford County, are examples of selfless government service and should be recognized in perpetuity with publicly displayed pictures in the school board chambers, much like our Stafford County Board of Supervisors have in their chambers. I've typed in requirements that we could discuss or add to or subtract from. And so that's, and I think this is important. You know, sometimes going from door to door, you know, your constituents say, oh, you're just a school board member. I don't vote in that. You know, no, you're not just a school board member. You're a school board member who has probably the biggest, you know, you're in charge of 28,000 children, a couple of thousand employees. You're writing policy and directing staff. So, and you're responsible for the good and the bad that happens in the school division a lot of the times, or the majority of the times. And so it's a huge responsibility with over 100 meetings a month that folks don't know of. I'm sorry, 100 meetings a year.
I was like, ooh.
Sometimes it does seem like that.
Sometimes it does seem like that.
Did I miss a few?
And the telephone calls.
And it's and it's a really large responsibility that I have not taken lightly, and I know my board members to my left have not taken lightly, and past members, that there's one, Ms. Reinboldt's in the audience now. I just think it's an important thing to do to make sure that we recognize these folks that have worked so hard to do the right thing by our kids. And so, Madam Chair, I'll, subject to any input or on the requirements or additions, I put forth this policy.
I just wanted to say, good job on the policy, Mr. McCosker.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good writing.
Very well done.
And,
You're
you know,
supposed to be
there's always,
happy.
I'm sure there's anything you want to add or take out
The
or maybe specify.
The only
Yeah.
small edit is display pictures in the school board chambers. I would suggest school board chambers and or adjacent hallways or.
Okay.
We got a lot of wall space to fill up in here.
I know, but
Sure.
If we could go back to 1800, maybe we could get these
shoot through a
going.
lot of school board members. And probably need to define what honorable term means.
The one thing I left off, I didn't want to get into the, and I'll take help from any legal advice on that one. I just didn't want to get into the, you know, was fired for this, was,
Yeah.
so, you know, some of the highlights, just for the audience are, you know, 2 years of service, and stuff like that.
And then 11 by 17.
Well, we could make it bigger. I mean, I think we should make it supervisor size.
Oh, my
which is
goodness.
like 92 by 89.
Well, we can't afford that this year.
We can't afford that. Yeah, that they would frown at that. No, it should be.
Maybe we get art students to.
It should. Yeah, that's what we need. Caricatures, right? So anyway, no.
That would be good.
So I would.
I like the caricatures.
Thanks.
I would,
So-
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
No, I was just going to say if there are any further
Right,
edits or
just-
anything, please bring those to actually Ms. Euring will be back next week, but we can always send stuff along or to touch base with Mr. McCosker if we have anything, but I think this is great.
Roberta when she's back. And I
No, Alicia's
appreciate,
doing a great job.
it's one more tasker for Dr. Benson, but I appreciate you and your staff looking into that and making it happen.
We've got a lot of walls, as we said. All right, if there is nothing further, our next meeting is Friday, July 22nd, 2016, beginning at 5 o'clock with a work session and then special called meeting. Our regularly scheduled meeting is August 9th, 2016, beginning at 7 o'clock. I would ask board members, if you are going to be out of town, to please send an email to Roberta in case for personnel appointments or other matters we may need to convene prior to that August date. If not, we are adjourned.